Hey there YouTube, Super Brain AK here, and may God bless you in the fruit of your talents. Today I've got a simple but pretty interesting video. I've got my 32 volt 50 amp buck converter here, and the adjustment knobs on it are these teeny tiny, smaller than my finger potentiometers with this teeny tiny little screw. So I didn't like that very much, so I replaced those with big potentiometers, bigger than my finger. So how I wired that will be at the end of the video, but it's pretty simple. You just wire for wire, 10K potentiometer, 10K potentiometer, and you're good to go. So let me show you the lay of the land, see what the setup is. So, first off, we have the server power supplies, 24 volts at 44.5 amps, well, about 1100 watts, going right now directly to this power meter, directly into the buck converter. This guy will be for later testing the voltage output of this. Right now I'm just going to go for maximum current out, and that I don't need this to boost the voltage, because on its output is a approximately 12 volt, approximately 50 amp load bank here, which is just some nichrome wire. And if you can see that suspended. And then I've got some cooling fans for those, because it'll push about 600 watts. So, let's get you back on and let's wind it up, see if it works. Alrighty, so it's going to get a little bit loud, so watch your volumes. Server power supply is powered. Server power supply is on. Cooling fans on. So we're all ready to go. And I'll bring the current down, I'll bring the voltage up, but if you can see that green LED at the bottom switches to orange, that means we're in constant current mode. So I'll bring the voltage up. About halfway, that should be plenty. And you can see on the dial here, we've got the 100s, that's how many turns around you've done, and then this is the 10s and 1s. So you can see as I dial that up, we're already at 10 amps at 80 on the dial. $20 or 160. $30 at 260 something. $40 amps at 430. $50 amps at 709 or 8. It does go up to 55. 942. And then 1000 is 56 amps. So I'll bring the voltage down. Now you can see it's switched to constant voltage. And then we'll reconfigure with the big giant boost converter, the 3000 watt boost converter on its input, and then I'll disconnect the load. Okay, I've got my plugs reconfigured over here. So we'll power up the server's power supplies. There we go. We're reading about 38 volts over here. And so now we can spin up the voltage dial. So 3.3, that's about 100. 5 volts, that's about 148. 9 volts, 268. 10 is 395. 12 is 355. 15 is 442. 19 volts, 565. We'll skip 20 volts, go to 24. 712. 30 volts is 895. And 32 volts is 955. And then that's the full range, so that's 1000 on the dial. We have 33.5 volts. Not too bad. So it seems to run pretty stable, so let's show you this schematic. Alrighty, so got my little notebook here, and it's pretty straightforward. So what I did is I removed the two potentiometers that were on the board there and there. So this was the constant voltage potentiometer, and this was the constant current potentiometer. And how their circuit diagram was like this. So the constant current one was only using 2 pins. Pin 3 there was not being used at all. And so pin 2 I definitely needed. Pin 1 was just going through a resistor to ground. That is this little guy right here. And so in order to combine these two ones, I only needed one ground, so I didn't want to bring this up as a wire just to make it be a resistor to ground. So I removed that, I just moved it over. And then this guy, he's got 3. Pull up to voltage, and then shenanigans, that's all this circuitry over here, and then ground. So I had a shielded 3-core wire, and so that's a total of 4 wires. So 1, 2, 3, and then ground. So that's pretty easy. So in order to plug in the connector there, I just made some little bodge wires. There you can see. So from the constant voltage pin, the middle number 2, that actually goes down to pin 1 of this constant current, and then the number 3 jumps across to number 3 of the constant current, which wasn't being used. And so that black, white, red go into the cable. And then on the other end of the cable is this box here. And so this little guy is actually a replacement AC adapter, so some cheap laptop charger, 14 volt, 3 amp. It was garbage, which is why I have it taken apart. But makes a nice little project box. So now, how I use these new potentiometers. So the original ones were 10K, these are also 10K. And you can see the numbering on them. It goes 1, 2, 3. And the wiper is 2, and then counterclockwise goes down to pin 1, and that is the same on these. So probably can barely see it, but you can see these are labeled 2, 1, and 3. So 2 is the wiper, 1 is counterclockwise. And so yeah, I just pin for pin wired it up, and then with the exception of this potentiometer had that 1.5K resistor, so pin 1 through the resistor and some heat shrink all the way down to the other potentiometer, pin 1, yeah, pin 1 to the shield, and that's it. And I secured the cable in with some hot glue, and I also glued it down there as well, so should be good to go. And then I'll probably just put some Scotch tape to close this guy up, which it does hold on pretty well. So, alrighty. So that's how you wire up 10K potentiometers that aren't extremely tiny and require a screwdriver to turn. Now you can do that for just about anything. The buck converters or boost converters or whatever project you have. And don't forget, the link to this guy will be in the end screen. I doubled up a cheap Chinese boost converter. And thank you guys so much for staying to the end. I appreciate your subscriptions. And I'll see you all in the next video. God bless.